So joining us now with the latest on this cricket podcast from broadcaster Paul Dennett. Good morning to you, Paul. Paul, let's just start off with the kind of news that we're seeing on the back pages of the papers today. Last night we applauded Cricket Australia to an extent for reacting so quickly when they were on the other side of the world. Now, if the back of the Times here is to be believed in a number of the other papers, we're looking at a 12-month ban for the leadership group involved in this cheating scandal.
Yeah, that's the news coming out of here as well, and that's the sort of level of ban that I think is going to be necessary to restore some of the faith with the Australian public in the Australian cricket team. It will kind of mean that those senior players will still be available for the Ashes next year and the World Cup next year. There has been some speculation that I've even seen that they'd want to extend it even further than that to rub them out for those two events. But I think a year's ban would be enough for the rest of the world to sit up and say, wow, they really are taking this seriously.
The Telegraph here as well, discussing the latest, or the possibility that it might be the end of the line for Darren Lehmann as well. I mean, kind of stunning that whilst we've heard from captain, vice-captain, the replacement captain, the man involved in the tampering, that we're still yet to hear from the leader at the very top of the team.
Yeah, I think that his position does seem like it's going to end as soon as in the next few hours. That's the news reporting coming from Australia as well, that he's going to stand down. And I suppose maybe that's part of the reason that he hasn't spoken yet. I think that the press conference that was done immediately after the day's play, where Steve Smith and Cameron Bancroft spoke, there was a viewpoint that at least they had the guts to speak, but that maybe they were ill-informed and they should have been a little bit better prepared. So possibly Lehmann's been thinking, I'd rather say nothing than say something that inflames things further. And he may well be thinking, well, if I step down today, then that's the end of the situation for him.
In terms of the reaction in Australia, as it's been over the last 24 hours, certainly since we were last speaking with Brad Hogg out there yesterday morning, has there been any tempering of it at all? Because interestingly, I spoke with Derek Pringle earlier today. You may remember, former England cricketer, former Essex cricketer, and he's someone who was involved in quite a big cheating scandal himself not that long ago. He actually said that because of the nature of what the offence was, ball tampering is something that happens on such a regular basis, and such legends of the game have admitted to doing it after their career, that he thought actually this has maybe been a little bit over the top.
Yeah, I think that the difference has been, I believe, that the rubbing saliva into the ball that's been in contact with a mint, or getting the ball roughed up by dirt is one thing, but to have actually sat in the dressing room, cut the tape up, concealed it, used it to rough up the ball, then when confronted with the evidence, hiding it down your pants and initially lying about it, it's a level far beyond anything else that's happened before. And there's a viewpoint amongst Australians as well that some of us don't always like the way that the Australian team comport themselves on the field, that they're a little bit crossing the line as far as sledging and whatever else goes. But the one thing we've always all known is that if there's ever going to be a cheating controversy or something equivalent in cricket, Aussies will not be involved. And bang, that has completely changed. And so I think that's where the severity of it's taking place.
Isn't that part of the issue, though, Paul? Isn't part of the issue the fact that we have kind of given leeway with this, whether it is the level of sledging, whether it is, you talk about crossing the line. That was a line we heard a lot during the Ashes series, and, whilst English players weren't willing to come out and openly discuss it, we certainly heard English voices claiming that the lines were crossed, and then suddenly Quinton de Kock does something similar, and it all kicks off at the beginning of this series. I mean, is there not an argument that you give an inch and there's going to be a mile taken, and this was almost the natural progression?
Yeah, I think that there's a viewpoint that the team are deluded, and that they're living in a strange environment where they thought that they could ever get away with this, and maybe the fact that everything they've done up till now has allowed them, no real accountability has been given. But again, I think that there's a chasm between this and all the other things that they have done on the field, and it comes at the worst possible time from a commercial point of view for Cricket Australia. I think that's behind the reaction as well, that they are currently signing up the TV stations for broadcasting. They're hoping to get $1 billion to broadcast cricket over the next few years. the TV stations will naturally be saying, well, why should we give you that much when we're not going to be able to get the same level of advertising or ratings, given that the brand has been so tarnished? So there's a real commercial problem for Cricket Australia as well.
What's been made of the fact that, and I think this is always going to be the case, whether it's doping in cycling or athletics, or whether it's diving, whatever it might be, when cheating happens and is caught and is discussed in this level, suddenly you start to retrospectively look at past incidents and ask, well, is there an asterisk next to those as well? And certainly Stuart Broad was asked about this in a press conference and kind of skirted the issue a little bit, but Michael Vaughan has come out and said he's pretty sure there was ball tampering going on in the Ashes. I'm not going to suggest in any way, shape or form that anything that we or you could have done to the ball could have made any difference to how bad England were in that Ashes series, but it does mean that there is now going to be a question mark, and how have those comments been reacted to?
Well, absolutely. And if people in Australia are questioning what might have happened in the past, then as you said, people in the rest of the world are questioning everything that the Australian cricket team has done of late. They've got their integrity officer, as he's called, over there investigating now. And the information that we're getting is that it's going to be a very robust investigation, which will presumably cover off things that have happened in the past. And there was talk that how could Australia get the ball to reverse swing so quickly in those first couple of matches in South Africa on these lush outfields. There was rumours around, David Warner wearing taping on his hands for an injury that was a bit too, unnecessarily bulky. And as there's that footage that's seeming to show Cameron Bancroft putting sugar in his pocket before going out to take the field in the Ashes. So, look, if they come to the conclusion that there was ball tampering in the Ashes, then that's, takes it to a completely new level. As you said, there's no evidence, there's no proof of that at all at this stage. But if it were to be the case, I don't know what would happen, whether they'd even need to do the unthinkable and contemplate relinquishing the Ashes. I don't know. Maybe that's going a step too far. But it's at that level of severity that Cricket Australia is regarding it.
I mean, you are at a stage now where, 36 cameras, where actually you think it's got to take a pretty spectacular level of either arrogance or ignorance to believe that you can get away with this on any particularly large scale.
Absolutely. And we now know that not only were there that many cameras, but they were on the lookout for it. Fani de Villiers, the former South African fast bowler who commentates in the Afrikaans commentary for South Africa, had said that based on their feeling that, they're getting the ball to reverse swing so early, they'd actually put the camera people on note to look for anything. And it was part of that they came up with discovering this. So not only are there a squillion cameras, but they were all trained to find out this moment. So the chances of getting away with it was zero.
Crazy. Paul, look, we really appreciate your time. And as we say, this story is going to continue to develop. And as we've heard, Darren Lehmann may not be in a job for much longer. Steve Smith, we are expecting for him and for David Warner potentially year-long bans. That's what we're hearing both here and in the and down under as well. And year-long bans for them. No coach. This could be a huge turning point for Australian cricket, and the story will continue to develop. So continue to stay with us on TalkSport for more on it.